Okay, let's sketch the graph of the given rational function. Okay, you want to do this last after you found the asymptotes, after you found the intercepts, and after you found any holes in the graph. Okay, you want to use all of these things to draw the graph. Okay, so let's get started with the asymptotes. Okay, I know I have a vertical asymptote when x is -3, so that would be here. Try to draw this decently. Okay, and I have a horizontal asymptote when y is equal to 0. That's just going to be the x-axis. Okay, all right, so these are going to serve as boundaries. Okay, so now it makes sense then that I don't have an x-intercept, okay, because the x-axis is serving as a boundary. Okay, so we would not expect to find an x-intercept there, although it technically could happen. We're not going to worry about that now. Okay, so intercepts 0, 1/3. I'll just be careful how I draw this. I'll say this is 1, so 1/3 is probably right here, about. Okay, and then I have a hole in the graph at -2, 1. So right there, I'm going to put a nice open circle so I remember that's a hole in the graph. Okay, so now the question becomes, where do I draw the graph? So for every vertical asymptote, I need to find 2 test points. Okay, for each vertical asymptote. Okay, so you want to kind of think about it on the number line. On the graph, there's -3. Well, I need to figure out what's happening to the left of -3. So somewhere like at -2.9. And I need to figure out what's going on to the right at, look, I'm reversing this because I'm dumb. There we go. -2.9 is here. And then to the right would be -3.1. Okay? So I'm going to plug these in to the function, simplify it, probably should use a calculator. Okay, and that will tell me if my point is up high somewhere. If I get a big positive number, then I know that I'm probably up here somewhere. If I get a big but negative number, I know I'm down here somewhere. Okay, that's kind of what I want to figure out. All right, so I'm going to leave my graph for a second so I can see the function again. Okay, so let's do this one at a time. So f of -3.1 will equal, leave my spaces and plug it in after. Okay, boom, boom, plus 5 times that, plus 6. All right, and then go back down, give myself some room to work. -3.1. Right, so that's what I want to figure out. So I'm going to type that in my calculator. Okay, so -3.1 plus 2 is going to be -1.1 over -3.1 squared plus 5 times -3.1 plus 6 is 0.11. And if I divide those, I get -10. Okay, so my first test point is -3.1, comma, -10. Okay, so if I wanted to plot that, okay, so -3, of course, is right here, right? That's -3, so -3.1 is going to be right about there. Okay, and I get -10, which means that the actual point of the graph is way down here somewhere. Okay, so, all right, great. If I have to obey these boundaries here, right, I have to maintain my graph within those. I can't cross over those lines, essentially. And I need to go through this point. Well, that means I'm not going to be up here anywhere. I have to be down here. So the only shape that I really can have is something that sticks close to this line until it breaks away, and then goes through that point, all the while staying along this line. Okay, so that's going to be the left side of the vertical asymptote. Okay, so the right side, I actually don't need to find another test point. I will, though, just because. But I think I know what it's going to do, right? It's definitely not down here. How in the world can it hit these 2 points if it's down here, right? And even though there's a hole in the graph here, I still want my graph to run into that. Okay, I want it to go there. All right, so let's find another test point. This time using negative 2.9. Okay, and let's plug it in. Negative 2.9, negative 2.9, negative 2.9, and there. All right. And so then I break out my handy dandy calculator and I start typing away. I get negative 0.9 on the top, which is not what I was worried about. I'm more worried about the denominator. Things get a little tricky when you start squaring decimal values. Okay, negative 0.09. Okay, so if I divide negative 0.9 by negative 0.09, I get positive 10. So my second test point is negative 2.9, comma 10. Okay, so that's going to be, here's negative 2.9 about, and so negative 2.9 comma 10 is going to be way up here somewhere. Okay, so, all right, now I know for sure where my graph is supposed to be. It's going to stay along that line, come down, making sure I hit all these points on the way down, and staying close but never crossing the x-axis. And I missed my point, so I'll just pretend like I hit it by making the dot bigger. My usual trick. All right, so there we go. There's my rough sketch, but a pretty decent sketch of the graph.